Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon for September 22nd, 2019. With your host, Spacebreaker2448, and Ramp It Up Salon.
Hi.
You grabbed one with all the forms.
I mean, I did with those two, technically, so...
Well, the thing with this one is that it's literally all of the basic pictures of them that are on the wiki. Like, once you get outside of Fourze, Meteor, and Nadeshko, like, those are all the ones that are on the Rider Wiki that are super basic.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, folks, this week we are starting Fourze. Are you excited?
I'm kind of indifferent.
Oh. Not the most spectacular 4 episodes, were they?
Well, it was one of those that it's like... And maybe I'll get past it. I'm going to say this now. But I kind of feel like, as far as like Double O's and Fourze goes, Forze's the weaker of the 3. As far as the opening.
You are not wrong.
I'm hoping that changes, but I'm like, wow.
We get a really good finale. I will tell you that much. We get a really good finale. If you ever wanted to see your hero not only physically but verbally defeat the main villain, this is the show. Because he does both. Like, the end of Fourze is really good. It's just, I feel like this show is probably the, okay, I don't like the 2-episode format anymore show, because this is where we kind of overuse it.
I can completely see that.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's bad within these first 4. I can completely see that. It's like we had the minor complaint with those about them trying to make the yummies last a little too long sometimes.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, I feel like it's almost set up inevitably to have that. And I'm like,
Yeah. And then Wizard keeps this going for 1 season too long, and then we had to shake it up a Gaim and go, no, we don't need this anymore. We do not need this every fucking year.
Yeah, Gaim takes the formula and says, oh, 2-parter, so that means we split the entire show into 2 parts, right?
Isn't Gaim technically 6-part? I think it's actually technically 6 parts according to Urbochi.
Probably, but like after the first part, it's just steamrolls.
Yeah.
Like, it don't feel like there's any clear splits after the whole Christmas episode 1. And I don't know if that's just the writing style difference there or what, but yeah.
Yeah. So, here we are with Fourze.
I don't feel like right now I hate it, but at the same time I don't also feel like it's got the same impression that Double and O's has both done.
Yeah.
Because I definitely have to say rewatching O's was probably the better option. And my problem was, as far as with O's to begin with, if I'm not mistaken, that was around the time Gaim and Drive were both live. So, yeah. Of course I wasn't too concerned with O's at the moment.
Yeah. It probably also doesn't help that we don't have our entire supporting cast done yet.
Which I think that's fine. It. I think it's fine, but at the same time, I'm like, you're dropping way too much in the background to be like, why are we not just saying, okay, yes, these are supporting cast members now?
Yeah. How long? It's like, how long do we have until all three of these other people join the cast? About 2 episodes apiece, because of course it is. I wish I was kidding.
Oh, I know you're not. And that's where I'm like, maybe we shouldn't have, introduced the characters into the story if we weren't immediately going to just say, okay, yeah, they're part of this.
It's almost like there's a bit too much in certain places of Fourze.
Yeah.
Almost like we don't need 40 switches, even though, yes, I know it's the 40th anniversary of the goddamn franchise. We don't need 40 switches. Yes, we will have 40 switches by the end of the series. Plus a few more on top of that, just for reference. Yeah. Again, for reference, I'm not coming into this blind. Fourze technically was actually my first live show. This is the first show I was watching live, and also the first show I came in with some of the pre-release material know-how. So Fourze was the first suit I saw leaked. Fourze was the first suit I was seeing all the rumors and not the rumors and stuff going in, but at the very least was like, okay, we are anticipating Fourze's release. So, yeah, this is a kind of a full circle for me. Come back around and be like, all right, here we are. It technically didn't begin here, but this was a first. So, you ready?
I guess so.
All right. Again, these first 4 episodes are the September batch of episodes. So, September 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th of 2011. Our main writer is Kazuki Nakashima. He wrote 2 episodes of Double, the Yesterday 2-parter. So, Nazca's Sister 2 parts, which were good.
Yeah.
But he's more known for an anime background. Specifically, a show we've watched, Gurren Lagann, which neither one of us liked.
Yeah.
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 So, bear in mind, I did not know he wrote this.
Out of curiosity, knowing that after, because I'm assuming you didn't know that until after you finished Fourze.
Yeah.
So, knowing that after, is anything in Fourze kind of one of those you're like, yeah, that's probably because of that?
All of the fucking vocal tics and all that shit related to it now make perfect sense.
Okay.
all of that stuff. It's just like, oh, that makes perfect sense now because that's just a thing you do in anime. So of course it's here. Also, Gentaro's entire characterization also makes sense because it feels like it's pulled straight out of a shonen anime. Because he is very much a shonen protagonist.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those cases of, oh, there's a reason this feels like an anime. Because it was fucking wrote by someone who wrote anime. But on the flip side, our main director is Koichi Sakamoto, who, directed Double in places, directed the best solo movie of this franchise, A to Z. I don't think he directed anything for O's. I don't think he did. But a fairly prolific action director because he gets action sequences and knows how to make them look good. I felt like someone who studied him has hooked up on 01 and Lupat because they went, oh, we should make action sequences dynamic and, put effort into them instead of just punch, and kicks and all that.
Punch, kick, finish.
Yeah, we should make our characters have something unique about them and their fighting style, which is why Gentaro headbutts everything.
Quite literally. And
yeah.
It kind of slipped past me until I think it was episode 3, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm fully seeing that now.
Yeah. His main mode of attack is headbutt.
I shall bash my head into your head. Or other part.
Yeah.
Because I have to think that eventually that does not be head-to-head combat, quite literally.
Yeah, and also, have a lot of out-of-suit fighting, because, we have 3 fight sequences over the course of 4 episodes with Gentaro out-of-suit, fighting people. Yeah, shall we get into the episodes themselves?
I guess we shall.
All right, we're going to kick off with episode 1, Youthful Transformation, which I haven't mentioned it before, but for Double O's and Fourze, there was a gimmick to all of their episode titles. So for Double, there was a word that was just a letter that meant 2 different things, depending on the episodes. O's episodes titles were always 3 things related to that episode. And here, I believe it's 4 katakana are used to spell the name of the episode. This is one of those things that led to the whole number theory thing, because they were really emphasizing numbers until they stopped doing that after this season. Wizard technically doesn't follow the number theory because they stopped it after this season because it became too much.
Except for, though, truly, I don't think they fully did.
It's more coincidental than intended. By coincidence, the next season had a hand thing on everything, so that's the 5. And it's coincidence that the lock seeds look like 6 when they are opened.
Oh, God. You know what else is coincidence that I didn't think about till just now?
What?
The way Tamari uses the shift cars.
Yeah, they look like a 7. This is why people got annoyed by the number theory, because people keep brought up these coincidences. Like, no, it doesn't exist. They literally say it doesn't exist. Stop it.
That means that I think Ghost is the actual first one to fully break it.
No. Icons. What does icon sound like?
Oh, well, yeah.
Yep, 8. X8, what did the gas hats look like when you spin them upside down? They look like a 9.
Oh, God.
Technically, Build's the true one to finally break the goddamn curse, because nothing in Build lines up with 10.
No, if anything, Build would actually fit better with 11.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Anyway, yeah.
And I have to wonder if they tried so hard to break away from the numbers that happened instead.
Probably. It's just like, damn it, why do you people keep doing this? Stop it. No, stop it. Anyhow, to the episode, we get a quick title card denoting this as an official 40th anniversary work. Because, again, this is the official 40th anniversary series. Which is why it's called Fourze. Which is why there's 40 switches.
Which is why I'm sure 40 pops up a lot in this show.
There's a reason why at the end of the second episode we get the quick little thing that is never mentioned again. And I'm sure if you're up on your continuity, you're like, wait a minute, what?
I might have missed it.
It's on the tablet. It's who's present in that tablet. Kuga's in that tablet.
Oh.
Like, also Ichigo and Belief Super One are in that tablet as well. Which is one of those, oh, so we're acknowledging the Showa writers now as being in the same world, along with Kuga. And in footage that makes you wonder when this footage was taken, considering Ichigo and Super One are like from the 70s. Who took footage of this?
Although, could that make sense continuity-wise? Could Kuga have been in the same world?
Probably. I guess it
now
just...
that you mention that, I don't think any other writers were, so, I mean, I guess technically that could happen.
Yeah. It just becomes a question of what is the timestamp on this footage and when did it happen? Since it's just grainy handy cam footage.
Although, here's a little fun thing. I believe, wasn't there also an image of Fudo Tower being destroyed?
Yes, I believe that is a newspaper article referencing A to Z. Which is, like, the only thing that I'm like, okay, that feels like the most deliberate one, because that is not only a double reference, that's a nose reference. Because, you know, guess what we're doing in Megamax?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, before all that, before like 2 episodes worth of material, we're on the moon! The literal moon! A moon base is being blown up as a man with red eyes is escaping with a briefcase of important plot stuff that we won't touch on for like several dozen episodes of what's in that case.
Yay.
Yay! But he ends up leaving another person behind, specifically Kengo's dad. We'll get introduced to him later. To die in the explosion as he's like, Kengo, as he's holding also another Switch-like thing that we won't get to for several dozen episodes. Don't worry, that Switch is important. Eventually. We cut to 17 years later as Kengo is attending Asagami High School. This location is actually important. We're not at just some random high school for reference. I'm sure I've mentioned...
We're not just at high school, we're at an actual place.
We're at the high...
That has to be said after Sogo.
Yeah. Look, the high school is important, and I've said why it's important in reference to Geo, because Geo's continuity makes the events of Fourze not, like, makes what they do in those 2 episodes impossible. But we'll get there. Some random girl that also attends the high school gives him a letter of some significance. We never get into what, but Kengo tosses it off the bridge into the riverbed below because he ain't got time for that shit, I guess. But this is when Gentaro arrives, telling him, hey, you should at least read the letter and acknowledge that you, like, maybe care, instead of just ignoring it. You're being an asshole. Stop it. And he then proceeds to pass his bag to the girl, hops over the railing into the riverbed to go get the letter. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main writer. This is Gentaro. This is literally the perfect condensing of his character in this one scene. This is him. And that is our cold open. I have to ask now, what do you think of Gentaro?
he. I've got to say that everyone that honestly has called him an idiot is at least partially correct.
He's as much of an idiot as Luffy is an idiot.
Honestly, I can completely believe this, right from the fact that they managed to keep his character pretty on par in just about any cameo he's been in.
Yeah. If you've seen Gintaro at any point outside of the show, you know Gintaro's character. Like, you are not missing anything.
I feel like after seeing that, I'm like, oh, wow. One thing that the continuity destroyers called Toei actually did right.
Yeah. Yeah, literally, this is the man who will befriend everyone. And he will fucking do it, because he will find a way. This is also why I say none of his actions make sense in any of those Tyson films where he's constantly attacking people. Well, I'm like, no, this is not how Gintaro operates. Gintaro operates through power of friendship.
He tries to befriend you, and if that doesn't work, then he hurts you to make you befriend him.
Yeah. But coming out of our cold open, we're in Class 2B. Kengo gets info from Burger E. Yes, this burger looks like Wall-E. Yes, it's a hamburger. Guess what? All the little like gadgets are themed after.
Different food things.
Different fast food things specifically.
Do we have Fry Chan?
No, we have fried chicken snake. We have fried chicken snake. We have milkshake Eevee. We have Friesroid. Fuck, there's another one. I don't remember what the other one is.
We'll get to
no, there's a hot.
I'm sure.
There's a hot dog bulldozer thing. I think that's the last one. Look, the food roids are just a dumb, cute thing for little random scenes, and that's it. Anyway, we're told that the hole is active. What the hole is, we'll get there at some point. I don't remember when that one gets explained, but we'll get there. The school was built on a very specific location for a very specific reason. The girl, Yuki, which you've been introduced by now because she was a part of Gintaro's cameo in O's Wonderful and appeared again at the end of O's. She's like the most appearing person besides Kengo pre-series at this point. Yeah, she's concerned about this, especially of Kengo using the Fourze system, because he's not the most health inclined because of plot sickness that will come into play at some point.
Plot sickness that seems very similar to Date.
Pretty much.
Just saying.
pretty much, yeah. Someone looked at Date and just said, like, can we have that for a character for the entire series? And someone said yes. So, congratulations. Kengo now gets headaches every now and again when he decides to exert himself. We're introduced to their teacher, Serena. She's important for reference. She introduces Gintaro, who just flat out declares he will make friends with everyone in the high school because that is his character. To be upfront, we don't get that much on Gintaro's backstory. from what I remember, we get a small bit in one episode in the later half of the series, and that's it. We never really get into why Gintaro is like this. He just is, because everyone else's character arcs revolve around like Gintaro helping them through their problems. So we don't get really into his problems.
So essentially, Gintaro's the sun, and everyone else revolves around him.
In terms of their plot arcs, yes. Other than that, not really. It's not like he's a spotlight stealing asshole.
No, by no means.
Yeah. But yeah, everyone is kind of laughing this off because, you have Gintaro, who, for reference, the Asagami, everyone else is dressed in these blue and red uniforms. Gintaro is in a black uniform with a very, high school punk-looking attire, which is also deliberate, I believe, because Gintaro looks like a punk because he wants to look like a punk, but he doesn't act like one. It's one of those cases where if you think that's that's him, that's your fault, because that's not the right first impression. Yeah, everyone kind of laughs off Gintaro in his declaration. But he does end up reconnecting with Yuki, who is an old elementary school friend of his. And we find out that she likes space and wants to be an astronaut. But before taking his seat, he drops the letter on Kengo's desk, which looks like probably unreadable at this point because it's soaked with water. But the two of them get in an argument before Kengo leaves to go to the infirmary, feigning sickness because he's got better shit to do. This is one of those things of, yes, everyone is in high school. Also, everyone cuts class all the time, I guess, because they got better shit to do. I don't know how anyone graduates in this show.
Very carefully.
Yeah. But we do get the note that Gintaro wants to be friends with Kengo no matter what. Kengo, because if he can't make friends with an asshole that doesn't like him, how is he going to make friends with anybody else? Which is a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kengo leaves. We end up checking in with the teachers after class. Serena is not happy about the class arrangement she has at the moment. But Asugi, who also is an important character, by the way. Did I mention that Fourze's supporting cast is fucking enormous?
Yes.
Okay, Fourze's supporting cast is fucking enormous, because, by the way, Asugi is going to be a supporting cast member after not too long. But yeah, Asugi tries to cheer her up, and also he's got a crush on her, but she's not interested. She's busy.
I'm assuming quite literally.
Yeah. We get a quick horoscope scene showing off the horoscopes. By the way, that's what they are. Those are the horoscopes. They are our big monsters of this season. Technically, the Zodiarts are the monsters, but the horoscopes are evolved versions of them. So our main bad guy is looking for 12 of them. Because, there's 12 horoscopes, just to clue you in on that one. That's the plan. But after that, we check in with Gintaro, who's trying to find Kengo, and he can't find him, even at the he's not at the infirmary. He's also not at the cafeteria, who he just kind of walks around saying hi to people before he takes a seat at the popular kid's chair table, because Gintaro don't give two shits about fucking group divides and shit. He's just like, whatever. This is an open seat. I'm just gonna sit here. But that means he's in trouble. And even though Yuki tries to tell him, like, look, move, please. Please don't cause a scene. Gentro will not hear otherwise. This is when Mio and Shu, by the way, also supporting cast members, show up with their posses. And Shun decides to stick half the football team on Gentro, which Gentro proceeds to beat them all up because Gentro can handle himself in a fight. Unfortunately, Yuki is taking hostage, so Gentro gets to be a tackle dummy for the football players out back. And this little scene is...
And is it bad that I kind of was waiting on, while he was being used as a tackle dummy, for him to just kind of kick him?
Not really, but I also think that, like, as long as Yuki's in danger, he's just going to play along because, he can take it. Especially considering what he does next and what happens to him next.
Yeah.
But yeah, this little scene is broke up by the arrival of a Zodiart, specifically an Orion Zodiart, because they're all constellations. So if you know your constellations, I'm sure you get all the references. I don't, so they're just going to be Zodiarts every week. Because I think they also stopped mentioning who's who for after a while.
Probably. That wouldn't surprise me if they didn't just up and stop.
Yeah. But yeah, the Zodiart ends up breaking up this little scene, ends up targeting Gentro and Yuki because they were the only ones that didn't run. So Gentro decides to try to fight the Zodiart with nothing but a pipe. Because Gentro.
And apparently during that, the prop pipe got switched in.
Yeah.
Like, that had to be, like, the cut wasn't bad. The pipe was. Because you could clearly tell that was fake after it got folded around in a circle.
Yeah. Look, we only have so much budget, and you know where that budget goes. We're not putting budget into this fucking pipe for this one scene. But yeah, that does not go well for him, so he's pretty much knocked away and knocked out by the Zodiart. So Yuki is once more targeted by the Zodiart, but now Kengo arrives with the Powerdizer, which will actually stick around for a while. But yeah, using this mech slash cart slash launch pad, he manages to run off the Zodiarts because the Powerdizer is all three of these things. I honestly don't know why they keep throwing in these big CGI like mech things, because they get dropped fairly early in the season, and it feels like you could just not do this.
Yeah, but then what about everyone's mech fix?
You have Sentai for that. You literally have an entire franchise built around mecha with Sentai. You could just put the budget from that into Sentai and make it, like, better.
But then Rider would be worse. At least
not really.
No, not really.
No, it wouldn't.
I mean, we lose, a handful of episodes that had the CGI mech, and then, okay.
Yeah, oh no, you have to ride around that. I wonder what we could do. You could just, not have it and ride around it. Oh no. Anyway, now that the Zodiarts ran off, they go park the Powerdizer in the shed it normally gets parked in with a bunch of crap in front of it. Do they have to replace that stuff every time they have to pull it out? That seems like too much work.
Yeah, it kind of does.
And it's not like it's well hidden anyway. Why not just stick it in the shed and be done?
Plot reasons.
Yeah. But yeah, they go off and head to the Rabbit Hutch, which is just to put it out there because it will eventually be revealed. This is the last remaining part of the moon base from the beginning of episode 1. That is still on the moon. That is connected to the school through a locker in a back room due to space magic.
Which I think they explain everything except for that being the last part that was tied to the flashback station.
Yeah.
Like within these 4 episodes.
Yeah. And if you think I'm using space magic as just a substitute, no, it's literally space magic. There are 2 types of magic in the show: space magic and friendship magic. We will see both in use by the time the series ends.
I could have dealt with this whole show without you ever saying friendship magic.
Too bad. Friendship magic. This show literally has friendship magic. I know it brings that up. But I'm sorry. This show has friendship magic. It cannot be ignored. We'll get to it. Anyway, while we're at the Rabbit Hutch, Kengo is deciding to take the Fourze driver and go be Fourze. Even though he's not in the best shape to do so, Yuki tries to talk him out of it, and that is when we see Gentaro followed them through the locker, through the space magic portal tunnel thing, into the fucking base. He ends up taking the driver and deciding that he'll use it and help because Gentaro meddles, and this is him meddling. Since Kengo can't, and Yuki won't, I guess, because she's not a fighter.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know why Yuki doesn't take up the driver outside up. She doesn't want to.
I mean, reasons? Question mark?
Yeah. That's literally what I have in the notes. It's just like, I don't know. That's just how it is.
Like, the only other thing I can think of is, before Gentaro was introduced to the class, they were talking about having to activate Fourze, and maybe when she saw him, it was a case of she was like, he might could do it, and she just was purposely wanting him to do it.
I believe she said so. So, probably that. Anyway, we see the Zodiac attack the school, and Gentaro goes to intercept it, with Yuki helping out to pretty much give him all of the henshin poses and tell him how to use the goddamn belt.
Again, kind of gets back to the question of why didn't she just use it?
Yep. Which, now I have to ask a couple questions. How do you feel about Fourze's design? That is literally astronaut rider.
I kind of like it. It seems like it does the theme justice, kind of deal.
And the PlayStation 4 buttons.
I mean,
Which, for reference, each of the switches corresponds to one of those module. Like, the shape of the switch is what makes you, is what tells you where it goes in the driver.
I was wondering about that, because, I mean, they don't really go over that in the show.
I think
it's the case of he just magically grabs the switch and knows exactly where it's supposed to go. It's like, maybe we could have spent a second to have that one scene where it'd be like, why won't this fit in there?
It's one of those cases of the circle-shaped switch can only go in the circle-shaped hole, presumably.
I feel like just from an outside looking in, it's like, okay, well, how does he know which one goes on which part? And could you potentially switch one side for another?
No. To get into the toy a little bit, how the Fourze driver is programmed is in the base of each of those cavities, there is a series of buttons, not unlike the buttons that are on like the Jiku driver and the Drive driver. So when you push in, or when you put in the switch, it hits a series of those pins, and when you push it in, it also hits a series of those pins. That is how you know that's how the belt knows what's in the driver. Which I believe is the first instance of the pin system that Bandai has used several times since then, technically.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Also, how do you feel about that 3-2-1?
It sounds super menacing.
And how long do you think it will last?
I want to say they'll probably drop it before too long, but I think they'll probably have that the whole way, won't they?
It's here the entire season.
Yeah.
They never stop using it. Never. Never. There will never be an instance where we skip the 3-2-1. I don't know why, but they never skip it.
That's weird.
I know.
Because, like, that's the perfect thing to be able to skip.
Yeah, welcome to one of those quirks about Fourze that if you are annoyed by this, too bad, it's here the whole season.
It don't annoy me, more so as I wish they had done it in a different, at least, tone. Because, like I said, it feels almost like that's a countdown for an evil rider kind of deal, not the hero.
Well, if you want a more menacing thing, wait till we get to Cosmic. There's a far more menacing thing with Cosmic.
Oh, I can imagine, based off of how the base form goes. I mean,
well, the thing with Cosmic is it's played for a laugh, and it's used as a joke for one scene, and then it's gone. But that'll be like 30 episodes from now, so we'll get there. So back to the episode, Gentro and Zodiart are fighting out. Gentro all the while is learning the switches like Rocket, which is literally a rocket that kind of just goes and he has to go with it. There's that. There's the fact there's a launcher that kind of just launches if he takes a step, or a launcher for missiles that just goes when he takes a step. And he kind of needs radar to lock on to do anything. And not blow up the surrounding area.
Except in the next arc, he doesn't need radar and manages to use launcher perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
There's a thing about these two episodes that gets changed in the next two episodes, considering how the switches work, but we'll get there.
It's like, that would be one of those things that I'm like, that would be a smart thing to have if Rocket was used, if launcher was used with, as like a replacement switch kind of deal, not the base form switch.
Yeah.
Because then it'd be one of those gimmicks of, okay, well, to use this, you have to use that also.
Yeah.
But it being a base form, I kind of like how they switched it. Because that's more suitable.
Yeah, we'll get to a weird quirk about the Fourze system with the modules and the form changes next week, because we're getting elect states next week. It's weird in how it makes Fourze very versatile, even through form changes.
Well then.
Yeah. So after the fighting and after Kengo calling in through radar to help, Gentro manages to set up a finisher, but Kengo is cut off before he gets to tell him, yo, there's something else you need to know. So he does the rocket drill kick, which, yes, that is his normal rider kick, is just rocket and drill. But he blows up the Zodiart, and the day is saved. Except not. Because Kengo shows up at the Paradiser, and he's mad at Gentaro because he fucked up. And decides to start a fight with him, all the while Yuki just looks on like, And that's episode 1. Taking us into episode 2, Space Superiority. Yuki manages to break up the fight between Gentaro and Kengo. But Kengo still just takes the belt and tells him, hey, you didn't stop the Zodiart because you didn't destroy the switch. And if you don't destroy the switch, they could just become the monster again. Bravo, dumbass. I was trying to tell that before you cut me off. And of course, he's overwhelmed by this entire explanation because Kengo is using all sorts of technical terminology that he has no idea what the fuck is. But Kengo ends up leaving with the belt. But Gentaro decides he will not give up, and he will find the missing switch and whoever was the switcher on his own. Maybe.
Possibly. Probably not.
And that's our cold open. Coming out of it, we see the next day, I guess, Gentaro is accosted by Asugi because he's out of uniform. Spoilers, Gentaro will never be in uniform. This is his uniform for the entire series.
Sounds about right.
It's just one of those cases of, I think at some point people are just like, people owe him enough favors throughout the series. They're just like, no, we're going to let you have a pass on this. We don't care. You saved our butts once. We're good. This is when Shin and Miyu show up, and Gentaro asks them for info, but they decline because they're assholes, and also they know nothing. Spoilers, they know nothing. I think just about most of the student body knows nothing about what goes on with the Zodiarts.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. This is when we see Gentaro go to the delinquents to try to get the info out of them, and they are totally not the mob, and this one person totally does not look like an adult going to school. And also, like, he runs a mob. But they decide to fight Gentaro, and Gentaro, like, whips all their asses because Gentaro can handle himself in a fight without the suit. Kengo ends up driving by telling him, brute force won't help you. And then he sends off the ARP Burger E to go look for info and then leaves. Meanwhile, we see Scorpio drop off the waylaid switch to its switcher. We don't see who, we just see it's a guy in the school uniform, and that's it. Spoilers, that will be most of the people that turn out to be Zodiarts is the student body.
I mean, that makes sense. It kind of seemed a little weird to just, do that for a little while and then just say, oh, well, now we're changing.
Yeah. We see that Kingo and Gentaro are skipping class to investigate, and Gentaro is off looking for leads in the rabbit hutch, which goes nowhere. He just ends up making a mess. This is when he finds out that he's on the moon, and he has, I assume, the usual astronaut moment of, you see the Earth, and it's kind of this small little ball in the space, and you just get a sense for the scale of the universe, and it just dawns on you that it's like, oh god, we're just a small little thing in this giant world, this giant universe. Anyway, Yuki drops by and decides to take him on a little spacewalk, shows him the crater where the moon base blew up, and informs him of Kingo's backstory of, yeah, his dad died here because somebody left him to die and stole the switches and is trying to use them for evil, or store the switch technology to use for evil, and he's trying to stop them. So Gentaro is now kind of understands Kingo's perspective on all this. We see a bunch of the school kids going to a football game at a stadium. Don't worry about the football game, it's not important. And apparently everyone is deaf because nobody hears the fight that goes on outside it. But do we see Kingo practice on the motorcycle, which is technically called the Machine Masigler? And I'll probably refer to it as the Masigler every now and again. Technically, all the bikes have names, but most of them never get named in series.
Which is weird.
Yep. It's almost like the bikes kind of aren't super important in most of their series. But this is also probably the same dirt bike track that Terry used in Double.
Probably.
It looks like it. But Gentaro drops by on his bicycle and pretty much just goes, okay, look, I can't do this alone. I want to help. Kingo, I'm here to help. I will help. I will listen. I will do good. I will be best friend. I am ready to be best friend. But Kingo's not listening because why would he? Why would he listen to this madman who is bicycling next to him on his motorcycle, on his dirt bike, spouting friendship nonsense at him?
I do want to mention too, you know, you were saying that's probably the same dirt bike track that was used in Double.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me because seeing as how the opening bridge area, which also gets reused for the fight later in this same episode.
No, that's next episode.
It is? I thought
yes,
it was
it's
also
next
this
episode.
one.
No, I don't think they use it for this episode.
I thought they did when they transition out.
No? I might be wrong.
I might be too. I don't know. But basically, the same area, that's the same one they used in A to Z, and I believe in various episodes in Double.
And I know one episode in Wizard, because I remember this in Wizard. I'm sure this has been used several times.
Oh, yeah. So I would highly have to bet on the fact that is the same dirt bike trail.
Yeah. I think it would be more fun to, instead of doing a bingo card of locations per series, do a bingo card of locations and go, can we get 5 series that use the same location?
Oh god, I'd say that'd probably be easy.
Yeah. Or in this case, how many series have used these locations? Which one has been the most visited? But back to the episode, Gentaro gets a call from Tomoko, another supporting cast member, eventually. She's in the opening. She's literally in the opening, so of course she's a supporting cast member. And she has info on who the Switcher is. Which I forgot to ask, how'd you like the opening?
I don't really know how I want to feel on that. Like, I'm kind of in that mid-range there. One of those, I don't hate it, but I don't super like it either, so I'm gonna see if it's one of those that it might grow on me or not kind of deal.
I was more curious if you were paying attention to the lyrics.
Yes and no.
Okay. Because there's one part at the beginning I'm like, are you paying attention to the lyrics here and hearing about a hamburger?
Yeah. Funny you should mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho. Gentaro and Yuki catch up with Tomoko, and she pretty much spills that, oh yeah, one of Shun's, like, football mates is the Switcher because he doesn't like not being in, like, not getting time to do stuff, and Shun hogging all the spotlight. Because she, did the smart thing and tracked the IP address on the website, which, by the way, I forgot to mention that the school got threatened with a website thing earlier with the teacher scene. I don't think I put that in the notes.
I don't think you did, actually.
Yeah, I think I skipped over that for some reason. I thought I put the note in there.
I guess when you were doing the notes, it didn't seem like super important, even though it was.
I thought I made a note of it because I made a note when I was like doing up the notes of I was like, oh yeah, I need to mention this, and I just forgot.
Oops.
Yep. Anyway, they go to confront the guy while he tries to confront Shun and I guess try to kill him. Gentaro tries to talk him down with friendship because I'll be honest, if this magic. Is a no, just friendship, just friendship stat. Gentaro just has a friendship stat. He just like how Edgy has his hermit wisdom, Gentaro has friendship wisdom. And he will try to do the wisdom check every time to try to talk people out of a fight. It won't work most of the time. It will work every other time but there. But it doesn't work, especially since Shun is kind of making fun of him at the same time and antagonizing him and making it worse. So the switch goes last one. That's an important plot point, by the way. I also hope you're not tired of hearing that and not tired of that being how all of these fights go, because that's how most of them are going to go, I believe.
I can kind of see that.
Yep. But doing that fuses his consciousness with the Zodiart and leaves his body like wrapped in webs, kind of wherever he did it. So Gennaro's got to fight off the Zodiart for a bit before Kingo arrives with the belt, and they work things out, and they're on the same page now, and they will work together to stop the Zodiarts. Kingo plots a plan of attack, eventually, while Gentaro takes the fight outside. Shun also leaves at this point going, I saw nothing, I know nothing, bye. This is too much for my big jock brain. I'm leaving. So, outside, Gentaro uses the Masigler and manages to get the advantage, but he's told by Kingo that, oh, we need to take him to space because he's absorbed too much space magic. He's going to explode and take out half the stadium if we take him out right here. So, literally take him in this orbit around the Earth with nothing but the bite and missiles from the Powerdizer. So he does that, does a Space Rider kick, which is a specific variation of his Rider kick too, because he says it, because Gentaro announces all of his finishers. we're back to name finishers, and I'm not gonna lie, I miss it.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you on that.
But he blows up the monster, turns off the switch, which also destroys it, and the guy's better. And Tomoko gives us the one-time writer reference. She shows on a tablet the rumors and legends of writers. So Gentro is now technically a writer. Back at the Rabbit Hutch to wrap up, Gentro declares them the Kamen Rider Club, since they officially have a job now. Kengo does not appreciate him just hanging up the flag in the base and runs him around for a little bit, but Yuki's okay with this. And that's our first 2 episodes. How you feeling?
I guess that's probably... I still feel like I'm standing by what I was saying about the first 4 episodes are kind of on the weaker side compared to O's and Double, but I feel like excluding that was probably the best way of trying to go about doing all that without having like too much plot and not enough story kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah, these 2 episodes try to set up a lot because we got to get through a lot.
I feel like my bigger problem is the fact of, we are kind of seeing certain things start to come into play, but not to, and it's like,
Yeah, because I also believe at this point we see the face of the guy with the red eyes, and that the horoscopes are answering to him.
Yeah.
I gave you 3 guesses on who this person is.
I don't know if I want to take a guess right now.
Gonna hold off on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry, we'll get to who this person is. He's important. Spoilers, he's the final bad guy. If it's not obvious, yes, he is final bad guy.
Yeah.
But as to who, we're not to just yet. I don't remember when he's revealed. But I will put it this way, we as an audience will know who this person is overall before our cast is informed of who he is overall. Anywho, we ready to hop into the second half?
I guess so.
Alright, we pick up with episode 3, Queen Election. We're refining and testing out a new switch because we got 40 switches to go through and we have to do them in order. Because...
reasons.
Because toys. I don't know why. We just go in order. We're doing number 9, Hopping. I'm not going to go over any of the switches until they're important. Or unless they're important, so don't worry about it. Yes, Gentro has 8 switches on him. I can't tell you which switch is which at the moment, besides rocket and drill. Rocket, launcher, drill, and radar. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't remember what's 5 through 8 at the moment.
Well, I think 2 hasn't. The only one that we've actually seen so far has been Chainsaw.
We've seen Parachute as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We've seen Chainsaw, Parachute,
I think that's it.
6. There should be 2 more at some point, but whatever. Anyway, we find out that it is a pogo stick on one of Gentaro's legs, and comedy pratfall ensues, so Kengo declares it useless. But Gentaro will have no such thing, because he's got a bit of Yusei in him from 5Ds, where nothing is pointless, everything has a purpose. I literally could not but help but think of Yusei with a scene later on. But after this quick little session, we're back out on the school grounds with Gentaro and Yuki. And Yuki delivers the exposition on the Queen Fest, which is a competition to declare who is best girl at the school. I guess.
Yeah.
That's the short and long of it. Miyu is the front runner, and she is the current reigning queen for 2 years running, about to be 3, because this is her 3rd year. And 2 of her cohorts are taking up presents. By the way, they're important, even though we saw them previously. They're super important now. I don't think we see them past these 2 episodes, though.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Even though we literally can't avoid them because we're out of school, we probably won't see them again.
But even though we can't avoid them, we do somehow.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, they're taking up presents and stuff from her adoring fans. And Gentaro does not like that she's not taking them up personally, because Gentaro has a thing about, you doing things yourself. But Miyu does not particularly care for his tone. And after a pratfall on a banana, because we are all about the comedy pratfalls these 2 episodes for some reason, Gentaro decides to make a bet with her that she will be his friend if she ends up losing the contest, but he has to transfer schools if she ends up winning. And that's our cold open. Coming out of it, Gentaro gets into another fight with the Blitz, trying to get info, who, after the fight, end up pointing him to JK, who's also, by the way, a supporting cast member. The last time I get to say that for a while. I hope.
Maybe.
There might be. It should be the last one for a while. But JK wants info in return for his info, and all Gentaro can offer is friendship in the form of, I guess, the not so subtle, I will, beat you up, I guess, or this is my friendship, as he points to the pile of bodies of the delinquents that he's half murdered.
Again. So, Jake, I'll just call him Jake for now for simplicity, takes it, and he points Gentaro to one of the students who could potentially beat Miyu in the competition. And they try to convince her to join the competition, and she almost seems on board until a Zodiart attacks, and Gentaro has to go fight it off. Except when he tries to, Scorpio arrives and decides to fight him instead. For reference, this fight is the fight you see in Geo that is interrupted. So, theoretically, this is when Geo, the pasta part of that Fourze arc is happening in Geo. We see Gentaro try to fight Scorpio. It does not go well, and especially through the use of hopping, Gentaro pretty much loses it. Although Kengo does tell JK, you saw nothing, you know nothing. Got it? Good. Bye. So after another failed attempt with hopping, Scorpio gets away. Kengo tells Gentaro that the switch is useless and to just toss it.
Gentaro says, no, it has a purpose. By the way, all the switches are important. We need all 40 switches in the end. Because of course we do.
Of course.
After this, we see the girl decline to enter and even says that she will vote for Miyu, who is passing by at the moment. Gentaro is pretty much left with no options now and goes ask Yuki, who's at the local space museum, to go enter the competition because he's out of options and it's like it's better than nothing. But they're mainly doing this so they can bait out the Zodiart. And Yuki reluctantly agrees, especially after Kingo decides to chime in. Back with Miyu, we see her chuck the bunch of the presents because she's kind of a dick. I'm not gonna lie. We have some weird morality going on across these two episodes that we'll get to. Because clearly this is a heel scene. This is a scene of Miyu being very, very bad guy, very asshole. And she doesn't quite get skewed back towards good just yet, but it's probably because her character arc's not done yet. Anyway, the next day we're at the performance round where the contestants do a routine of some sort. Yuki does her best satellite impression, and people boo her off the stage for it. Tomoko, who's in the audience, likes it, and Kentaro likes it, and that's about the most of it. Kengo's just like, okay, sure, cool. Miyu and her goons do a bit of a dance routine with a video package, and they manage to woo the crowd until the Zodiart attacks. And Kentaro has to use the old chalkboard eraser trick to uncover it because the Zodiart this week can turn invisible because it's a chameleon. Kentaro gives chase after it and even manages to use hopping this time very well to put it into a defense, put it on the back foot. Unfortunately, when he attempts a rider kick, it misses because the chameleon got away, and we are left without a Zodiart and without an idea of who it is. But we do end the episode with Miyu back at the gym where this is happening, with Miyu trying to get back on track, everything back on track, but a video package then plays of her tearing up all the presents and stuff, which turns the crowd on her, and they practically boo her off stage. Which takes us to episode 4, Protein Secret Maneuver. We see that the show is over, and Miyu is pretty stunned by this quick turn by the crowd, and is a bit ready to quit, running off after Kentaro tries to comfort her. But we do see that one of her lackeys is in fact the Zodiart, because we're going to early reveal that for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think we needed to know that she was it this early, even though it would be like 5 minutes later and it's revealed. And that's our cold open. Coming out of it, we get the results, the early halfway results. They show that Kamen, the one that's with the Switch, is in the lead. Miyu is in dead last, practically being beat out by everyone else, including Yuki, who only had 4 votes to her name, and we can account for all 4 of them. Only 2 people voted for Miyu. I have no idea who. I can be pretty sure of one of them who didn't, considering a later scene. Anyway, Yuki and Kingo try to figure out who is responsible for the switch, because they assume one of her 2 goons are, but since both of them were attacked, we were not super sure. Gentaro can't really take stewing and all of this, so he's off to go take a practice break. or a workout break technically. Checking in with Miyu, she's not going to back down and back out of the competition, even though she is literally dead last and has probably no chance of coming back. And Tomoe doesn't take this too well and is a bit creepy with the other goon. And is practically wanting her to be her new goon. Or her to be her goon now. We follow Kingo back to the rabbit hutch, and we see that Gentaro is practicing with hopping some more, which shows, hey, Gentaro's been putting in practice off screen. This is how Gentaro is just going to be good at doing writer stuff, because he actually practices with these oddball switches, because who the fuck knows what's going to come out of these switches? But after a comment from Kingo about, being a hard worker, he realizes that, Miyu's not a complete asshole. At least she actually works for all of the shit she does. And tracking down Jake for info leads him to a bowling alley that she's rented out to strike her problems away, I guess. She tells Gentaro she's ready to quit, but he uses friendship to kind of pull her back and tell her that, try. Even if I would be better off if you actually backed out, try. Because if I'm going to lose this bet, I want to lose it fairly. Because you actually lost the competition after trying instead of just quitting. But this is when the Zodiac attacks. But Kingo arrives to protect the two of them and reveal that, it's Tomoe the entire time. And it looks like the two of them are going to talk things out for a quick second until Tomoe reveals, nah, fuck you, I hate you. And proceeds to attack Miyu. And actually injure her and send her to the hospital. Gentaro manages to run after the Zodiac after it leaves, and taking another pratfall that I'm willing to bet wasn't planned, and they just kind of kept it. I'm willing to bet that's a blooper. That they just went, keep it. But Gentaro manages to run off the Zodiac again, but we're kind of back to square one. The next day, we see Shun drop off some flowers for Tomoe. Since he is king, he has to acknowledge the new queen. Kind of a dick move, Shun. We'll get you fixed later. We see it's time for the speech round, and everyone's on stage but Miyu. And while they call for Miyu first, she's not there. Tomoe tries to throw her under the bus by saying, she ran away, but she comes hobbling in on crutches, still in a dress, mind you, and dressed up for the event, but still on crutches, ready to do her speech. Which she gives her speech, okay, how did you feel about this speech? Because I feel like we lost the moral at some point. Tommy, you there?
Yeah.
How'd you feel about the speech? Miyu's speech, specifically. Because I feel like we might have lost the moral somewhere.
Yeah. I feel like we kind of did.
Like, I kind of get what they were going for, but it feels like we needed another pass at post-episode script to actually get it across.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. It won the crowd back over somehow, which upsets Tomoe, whose switch goes last one. So she's primed. She goes Zodiac, ends up taking Miyu up above the stage somewhere in this gym. But Gentaro gives chase. Once more does a nice little comedy scene when he does his Uchukata. his big "It's space time" and bangs his arms on the goddamn grating. They at least try to do fun things with it. The two fight, but Tomoe is using Miyu as a shield, so Kentaro can't get a punch in. Until Miyu decides to talk her way into getting thrown off a nearby bridge. But some quick eye contact between her, Kentaro, and Kengo lets him know, hey, maybe you should save her. And he's got Magic Hand, which is like 5 or 6, I think. It's one of our like unknown number switches. He uses Magic Hand to save her, and with no obstacles in the way, Kentaro just knocks out the Zodiac, and we're done. Forgiveness and amends are all around, and now Miyu's a part of the club, and she just makes herself president. Because she can, I guess.
Because reasons.
Yep, and that's the episode. So what'd you think of what is more or less the standard 2 episodes of Fourze?
I felt like it was a good character development one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess the thing that I feel like is lacking is, you know, most of the time we have some kind of come away for the main character.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I know what you said about how Fourze is set up, but it's like, I don't know, it feels like it's leaving a hole there that it should fill.
Yeah. And I don't really gonna fit it.
I almost think that's why I'm kind of like in that meh zone with it, because it's like it does stuff really good, but then it also kind of skims over stuff that it could have done to make it better, and it's like,
Yeah. You're not wrong on that. I think the latter half of the show kind of makes up for that, but the early part where we're trying to set up the entire supporting cast and also trying to balance out the supporting cast and all their character arcs and stuff, yeah, it's a lot to juggle, and there's only so much juggling we can do over the course of like 48-ish episodes.
I wonder, and I'm sure there's probably no way that it could have been done different, but I wonder if maybe a smaller supporting cast might have caused for a different outcome for some of this. I
would say probably, but I also know that the earthquake that happened during the course of O's had an effect on the production of Fourze and changed how Fourze was going to be done. So this more lighthearted tone, and I think a lot of the kind of other aspects of the series is just because, we wanted a tone, something different than what we were originally planning. And since we were kind of late in production at the time, that's kind of what happened.
I mean, I can see that, but like I said, I almost wonder if maybe if different circumstances were set, maybe we would get a little different.
Yeah. I could see a slimmed down supporting cast and a bit more focus on that supporting cast, especially Kentaro, could probably make Fourze a bit of a better series overall, because I know some people don't like Fourze. But I still think it's a good series overall, even if it's probably the roughest of the three we've seen so far.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything else?
Completely can agree with your statement there.
Yep, but any other thoughts?
No.
Alright. Then next week, we will be picking up where we left off with Fourze. We'll be seeing Elect States in action as Gentaro has to face down a fencer. And so it's hard after that. I'm going to be honest, most of what I remember from Fourze, I think is from the latter half of the series. So, 1 minute while I look that up. This might be, considering the name of that first episode, the Shun ones. Yeah, that's the Shun two-parter. So we are well into still supporting cast, recruiting. Because I believe Jake and Shun are next week, and Tomoko's the last one the week after with Fire States.
Hold on.
Yeah. I don't think we're out of supporting cast setup stuff until episode 12 from the looks of it. Because technically 11 and 12 are Kengo's friendship episodes.
So we managed to spend a quarter of the show on just setting up the supporting cast.
Like I said, we have a very large supporting cast compared to other series, and it takes a while.
I feel like I stand by the whole, maybe if the supporting cast was smaller, things would have changed.
Yeah. Anyway, that's next week, and leading up to there is more Super Climax Heroes, more Fire Emblem 3 Houses, us going back to Minish Cap. Oh, that'll be fun.
Fun, you say?
Yeah, and then some multiplayer stuff on Saturday. So for Tommy, I'm Peace. Get out, everybody. We'll see you next week.